S's new job at a Reliance Trends store right next to the Kashi Vishwanath temple in Varanasi was supposed to be a jackpot. Millions of visitors meant millions of potential sales. But everything turned out to be quite different for them. The store was quiet, targets weren't being met, and the manager was angry and unpredictable, just looking for someone to blame. Every day, S would watch some staff or the other be publicly humiliated. But S hung on, and then came the shock. S was laid off in the middle of the festival season when business should have been actually booming. And that's when the truth started to come out. You see, this wasn't about S. It was about an industry that had overreached. The retail dream of a booming post COVID shopping spree that companies like Reliance had sold themselves never really happened. They built and expanded and hired like never before, and then they had to hit rewind. Thousands of jobs were gone, hundreds of stores were closed. Turns out, India's fashion retail scene is scrambling for a reset. But what exactly went wrong? And why did giants like Reliance, Aditya Birla, and Shoppers Stop stumble? And what is the new playbook that they are following to survive? Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from the Ken. I'm your host Nigdha Sharma, and I don't chase the news cycle. Instead, every day of the week, my colleague Rahil Philippos and I will come to you with one business story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Thursday, the 2nd of July. Let's rewind to just after the pandemic. Retail giants were ready to bounce back and they were not being very subtle about it. Reliance Retail, for example, went all in. They opened nearly 6,000 stores across fashion, groceries, and electronics just in the financial year 2022 and 2023. And they were betting big, especially in smaller towns, tier 2, tier 3, and even tier 4 cities. But throwing money at something doesn't always work as the best bet. Shoppers were not rushing back the way the companies had been hoping. And that massive expansion started to backfire. Reliance had to lay off 42,000 employees in FY 2024, which is basically 11% of its workforce. And most of those cuts were from retail. And it wasn't just Reliance. Aditya Birla Fashion, which owns Pantaloons and Biba, shut down 200 stores. Arvind Fashion closed down 70 stores. Shoppers Stop shut down 9. As you can tell, these were not tiny course corrections. They were signals. Retail was hitting a wall. Analysts actually put it more gently. They use words like streamlining and cleaning up, but the truth was retail was bleeding. And all eyes were on how these giants would respond. So, what now? The approach has shifted. Stores are opening slower and more strategically. Reliance added 1,800 stores in FY 2024, which was a far cry from the previous years. And now, any new store has to prove itself fast because profit timelines have shrunk from 1 to 2 years down to 6 to 12 months. And retailers know now that the party is over. It is no longer about planting flags everywhere. It is about making each store count. More on this in the next segment, but before that, my colleague Rahil has a message for you.
Hi, this is Rahil, the co-host of Daybreak. I'm quickly pausing this episode to share something very exciting with you. We are hiring. We are looking for someone in the early stages of their journalism career. Maybe you're fresh out of journalism school or you've done a couple internships and projects and are eager to take on your first full-time role in audio. I'm looking for a co-host to help launch a brand new podcast from the Ken. This is a full-time role and you'll get to work closely with me as well as the rest of the audio team, right from story pitches to interviews to shaping how the final show sounds. If you're curious, ambitious, and absolutely love audio storytelling, we would love to hear from you. All the details will be in the show notes of this episode.
With falling sales and rising rents, India's big retailers have been experimenting. Like Delhi Pacific Mall, for example. 2 years ago, they opened an outlet mall in Jasola. And it wasn't just another mall, it was built for discounts. Big brands, old inventory, and slash prices all year round. Think factory outlet, but fancier. Brands like Superdry, American Eagle, and Aditya Birla's The Collective signed up. Even Reliance joined in with its label The Tank. They went from 50 brands in 2023 to 70 now. Elsewhere, retailers started pulling away from traditional malls. Shoppers Stop, for example, left its long-time home in Rajouri Garden in Delhi and moved to a high street location near a busy metro station. Same brands, different setting, and much more footfall. And then there's also the rise of value retail, which has low cost but high turnover formats. Trends Zudio, meanwhile, has added 220 stores in the financial year 2025 alone. Compare that to Westside, which has added just 16. But Reliance Retail's U-Star, Shoppers Stop's Intune, and Aditya Birla's Style Up have the same playbook. It's about volume, simplicity, and offering just enough to keep the budget-conscious shopper coming back. But look beyond location and price, and you'll see another shift: design, experience, and vibe. When my colleagues, the Ken reporters Debanjali Biswas and Akriti Bhalla, visited stores in Bangalore and Delhi, West Side specifically stood out. It was spacious, it was clean, the staff were uniformed, and the racks were black. Fixtures looked sleek. It just felt way more intentional. Now, compare that to Pantaloons or Reliance Trends. It's the same neighborhoods, but their stores are almost empty. And one key difference among them is how products are arranged, how stories are told through their clothes, and Westside just happens to nail it. They run everything in house, all private labels, unlike Trends and Pantaloons, which juggle private labels, third party brands, and also acquisitions. Even beauty is getting its own spotlight. Shoppers Stop started rolling out SS Beauty stores. The first one opened in Mumbai in 2022, and now they have 17 stores, which are focused, stylish, and targeted. And that is the new rule. Don't be trying to do everything because right now the stakes are too high. Retailers are seeing rent go up by 8 to 12%, even 15% in some spots. But sales per square foot is barely up by 4 to 6%. So, unless a store really stands out, it's not going to make it. And the lesson here is pick a lane, know your shopper, and then go all in. Legacy giants like Reliance and Aditya Birla tried to do too much. There were too many formats, too many ideas, and way too many assumptions. Meanwhile, new age brands seem to be way more focused. They know their tribe, and that tribe keeps coming back to their stores. As one industry expert put it, it's not about being everything to everyone, because that might just leave you being nothing to no one. India still loves to shop, and that is not changing. But how and where we shop is evolving very fast. For retailers, the path forward is not expansion at all costs. It's about clarity, creativity, and the courage to cut what is not working.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of the Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings. A full subscription unlocks daily long-form feature stories, newsletters, and podcast extras. To subscribe, head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on top of the Ken website. Today's episode was hosted by Snigdha Sharma and edited by Rajiv CN.